Hello everybody and welcome to the Golgari deck tech video. Now I'm going to do something a little different with Golgari in that it is my opinion that Golgari is a little more complicated to play than some of the other deck types that are out there. It's not as line them up and turn them sideways as I might hope for it to be. So what I want to do is a bit of a series. So this one's going to be the deck tech and some play style where I'll play a few games just live. We'll just run and gun and play out some games so you can kind of see how the deck wants to play. And then I'm going to try my absolute hardest to get some games against specific deck types. Golgari versus Boros, Golgari versus Blue Control, Golgari versus Jeskai, which is red, white, and blue. All the funny names. Golgari versus the mirror match for sure. I'll do a few of those. So this might be a 2, 3, 4 video series where it's all about Golgari. This is the most popular deck type right now, so I think it's important to really overanalyze. In my opinion, that's the funnest way to play the game, is to analyze the crap out of it and then find the best play in the best scenario, like hyper situational magic. And then I want to do a video of how it plays on ladder. So right now I think I'm platinum ranked, so it'll be kind of fun to see how it plays in the ranks. We got 4 Llanowar Elves with the alternate artwork from the Pauper event, so I like that. It says that I've been there. 3 cast downs. I've played with 2, 3, and 4. 3 seems to come up nicely for me. 2 Seekers Squires. I know some of the Golgari decks don't run Seekers Squire. I like it. 4 Branchwalkers, which is a 2/1. Both of these Explorer. And then there's some strategy as to which one you might play if you have them both in your hand. So I'll cover that too, hopefully. 2 Wildgrowth Walkers. I've seen a lot of Golgari decks running 2 Wildgrowth Walkers, and sometimes it feels like a Walker deck, which is kind of neat. It plays out so differently. A lot of win conditions. This is the card that gets a +1/+1 counter whenever a creature explores, and you gain 3 life. This is super good against aggro because that life gain is almost insurmountable for almost any aggro deck, unless it's like a Boros version of the aggro deck. Those get kind of tricky. 2 Assassin's Trophies. Destroy any permanent an opponent controls. They can search their library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield. 2 Find Finalities. These are absolutely fantastic, where you can return 2 creature cards. If you need to get like a Chupacabra back or an Explorer back, you can. And they go to your hand, not the battlefield, very important to know. Or Finality, which is a board wipe. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature you control, and then everybody gets -4/-4. It's almost always a board wipe. The only creature off the top of my head that would survive that's not in the mirror match would be like Aurelia would survive this, which is problematic. Or Lyra Dawnbringer would survive. But if you stick this on one of your Carnage Tyrants, you're in business. After Find Finality, we've got 2 Midnight Reapers. This is just card draw. So whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Midnight Reaper pricks you for 1 and you draw a card. Also includes the Midnight Reaper. So they remove Midnight Reaper, you get to draw a card. 3 Chupacabras. 4 casting dog. Whenever it comes into play, kill a creature. Works out really well. 2 Vraska's Contempts. You should probably add more. I don't have any more, so I'm at 2. That's my max. But there's so much removal in this deck. I feel like it's in a good place. I saved this for Planeswalkers. It works out pretty well for Planeswalkers. Yeah. 1 Vraska Golgari Queen. Now this is a late game Planeswalker. Took me a minute to figure out exactly how and when to play her. Not everybody plays Vraska in the main deck, so I do because I have one and I thought I'd throw it in there. You can sacrifice another permanent for +2 loyalty, and if you do draw a card, gain a life. Be very careful with that, because if you play her on turn 4 or even turn 3 with a Llanowar Elf in there, you can't use her. You don't want to start sacrificing your mana before you've got 6 or 7 of them. It's not a very wise move. Really, if you play her that early, you're going to destroy a permanent. So I was up against like a White Angels deck, and my opponent on turn 3 plays a Resplendent Angel, and then on turn 4 I play Vraska to kill that Resplendent Angel. That's really the only purpose of it that early. And then it sits there with 1 loyalty for a while, and then they attack it instead of you. Fine with that. Karn, 1 Karn, Scion of Urza. I saw this in one of the top 8s. They were running Karn, and I thought, I'm not sold on Karn, guys, honestly. I don't think he's great, but I have seen the use of him. So it's a specific. It starts off being worse than card draw because you always get the worst of 2 cards. But then if you could keep him alive long enough, and you can get some of those cards with silver counters on them, and then you can grab one of those specifically, that's the power of Karn. So hopefully I'll get a chance to explain that, or maybe through the course of playing some games I can highlight how good Karn can be, but it's pretty situational. 2 Vivien Reids, easily my favorite planeswalker in Standard right now. It's terrific. +1 loyalty, dig for a creature or land, which is super important. So if you've got Vivien and Vraska out, the game is virtually over. You can dig for a land, play it, sack it. There's so many options. She, for -3 loyalty, destroys target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. Dope. Awesome removal right there. And then the -8 ability, which comes up every 5th game, you get it. It basically says win target game, but you get an emblem with creatures you control, get +2/+2, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. And you can also, if you get that emblem out, you can finality, and then your creatures don't die because they're indestructible. It's awesome. I threw 2 Underrealm Liches in here with all the card draw that you end up getting. You can look instead. It gets a little tricky. It does, because you don't always want to graveyard your cards, particularly against like mill decks. That gets kind of funny, but you can. There's so much removal. So Vivien can help you out against mill, and then you can also Assassin's Trophy away the mill enchantments. So you don't find mill too often in the ladder. So Underrealm Lich is interesting. You can pay 4 life and he gains indestructible until end of turn, but you do have to tap it. So I tried to block one time, and that mechanic I forgot about that. I had to tap him, and then I got attacked anyway, and I lost more life than I would have if I just would have let him die. 3 Carnage Tyrants, easily. As you can see, this is not a budget deck, also. One of the awesomest cards right now in Standard. Can't be countered, trample, and hexproof. This is the card that causes a lot of people to run Detection Tower as a land, which will remove hexproof. Fabulous. I love this guy. I got a turn 3, had 3 Llanowar Elves one time, turn 3 Carnage Tyrant. Game over. 1 Memorial to Folly. I am debating taking this out. It does not serve its purpose very often, but it could be nice to have later in the game where you can sacrifice it and return a single creature to your hand from your graveyard. So this has got some synergy with Underrealm Lich, but there's only one in the deck. I'm not really sure if this is ever going to be a win condition, but it might help me solidify a few games. And then we'll take a look at the land base, and I've got some advice on your lands also. 6 swamps, 8 forests, 2 foul orchards, tap land, 4 Golgari Guildgates, tap land, 3 overgrown tombs because I have them, 1 woodland cemetery because I have it. I could make 2 more, not going to. What I would say about your land base is that having tap lands in control or mid-range decks is okay. Really what you want to avoid is having tap lands in aggro decks. I've heard this advice before where you want to make sure your lands are super dialed in for control decks, but I think the opposite is true. Control, you can kind of get away with tap lands because you're going to run more land anyway in your control decks. In your aggro decks, you don't want to be slowed down a turn. So if you're flip that on its head a little bit. If you're running aggro, fix your land base. If you're running control, throw some tap lands in there. It's okay. Not going to hurt anything. I certainly haven't found any issues with my mana base with this type of deck right here. Though it is pretty expensive. I wouldn't consider this budget in the least. Notice I am not running the other Merfolk that gives you Explorer. I forget what she's called right now. Let's take a look. Jade Light Ranger. So I only have one. I felt like making some, but then I was like, let's see if we can work around that a little bit. And I feel like I don't really need 4 Jade Light Rangers, plus something would have to come out. So I might have to take out like Finalities or a Chupacabra, just kind of make that work. So let me play through this a couple of games. We'll just go, off the top of it here in regular play mode, and we'll play a few games with the deck just like it is. And then we will get into some specifics later on this week where I'll have some actual dedicated situations. That'll be a lot of fun. And now is nobody else playing? There we go. Cool, this looks like it might be a pretty good start. I've got a turn 1 Llanowar Elf into a on-curve Branchwalker, which doesn't really help me too much, but a Vraska's Contempt to hang on to, and a fine Finality so I don't have to worry so much about losing my creatures early. And I got 3 lands, and that's cool. I do want a second black mana source, so we're going to hope a little bit, and we're against mono blue tempo. Perfect. Let's see how good we can do against this deck type. I might be able to get him to sacrifice a Storm Tamer to a Chupacabra, if that should work out. Ooh. Okay, this is a weird deck type. Alright. Pirates? Blue-black pirates? Let's see if we can't make it. And we got a forest. Okay. This guy's got menace. That's a good card to have out there. I'm going to need the land. Hopefully I draw into a swamp and I can Chupacabra his Dire Fleet captain down, which should by all rights cause him to sack his Storm Tamer. Let's see if he does that. Is he doing it? No. Oh, I'm on a game block. He's going to kill them both. I'm fine with that. I don't think he's got any combat tricks in blue and black. He might be able to return one of them to my hand. Or cast down. Yeah, that's still not going to save him. That was a worthless cast down right here. So he casts down and doesn't get any benefit out of that. Both of my creatures were dead anyway. So keep that in mind as you play the game. If you're going to lose them anyway, don't waste your cards. So this, okay, that goes in the library. We're good with that. And now I can start to take over the game. So this isn't an aggro deck. It's technically, well, okay, so check this out. This is going to be good. I'm going to get to explore again by this move. He knows I'm playing black and green. He knows I've got removal. Well, he might not. This might be a new player. So I do want to be friendly to like new players. And I played my tap land, so now I've got enough to Chupacabra, which I will. So Chupacabra, his hostage taker. He can't use his Storm Tamer. Doesn't have the blue mana. I'm going to get my Branchwalker back, and it's going to explore again. And that goes on the library. He can see this now. This is revealed to everybody, so let's see if he makes another bit of a misplay. Non-creature, so he can take any of those. Vivien Reid's the right answer. Wrong answer. That was completely wrong, because I can Vivien Reid and then destroy it. Wow. I'm not going to. I'm going to Chupacabra it, which he could see. Unless he's got an Essence Scatter. So is he planning on countering? He loses his Storm Tamer. Okay. Okay. This game's going to go our way. A lot of options. And if you're looking at this going, man, there's a lot of ways to win. This deck type does give you a lot of ways to win. And that's one of my favorite things about it right now. A counterspell would be the right way to play this, dude. There you go.
Most wounds can heal.
Spell cost bonus. I haven't even seen this. And then we just swing and we just keep the pressure on at this point. He's got to block or die. And he doesn't have enough health to come back from this. I can Vraska. I can find, so I can use my Find Finality and bring back 2 Branchwalkers already, which I'm not going to do. I'm gonna cast down for sure, right? So he loses his Departed Deckhand. So there's no point in... Okay, wondering if he was going to use a Storm Tamer for something. So now I can just freely attack. If you Vraska's Contempt a Departed Deckhand, the sack effect happens first, and you don't gain the life. Oh, I'm slowing the game down for him. Sorry, buddy. This is sorcery speed spells here, so no point in saving them. Although Vraska's Contempt is an instant, so I'll leave 4 mana open, and that's the game. Thanks for playing. That was kind of a weird deck. You will find those, though. Every once in a while, there's like somebody playing some janky, weird stuff comes out of nowhere, and you go, what the heck? And then you lose because you're not expecting it. That happens. So it's just about playing the best cards available to you in your hand against whatever that opponent's doing in that moment. That's why I love the analysis side of this. Also causes me to be very bad at limited, like draft and sealed. I gotta think people are playing. This is just play mode. Like, what's going on? 30 seconds between games? A minute even? Let's see. A turn 2 Walker into a turn 3 Reaper, and hopefully... so that's a decent curve without a turn 1 play. I'm okay with that. This gets a little tricky with 2 tap lands in here. There's a right and a wrong way to do that. So, and we go first. So, okay, let's do it. Guildgate goes down first, because this is a dual land after my turn. So it's the ideal card to play on my opening move, where he doesn't have a card down, so I can do a gate without a problem into a forest, and then my Wildgrowth Walker can come out without too much of an issue here. However, next turn gets a little tricky. If I don't draw into a playable mana source, you know, like not a wood. Well, yeah, it would have to be a Woodland Cemetery or a Shockland. This isn't terrible, so I can do a Llanowar Elf. He's rocking some tokens. He's going to take the one. Doesn't want to lose his tokens just yet. So Find Finality would come in handy here. Vivien Reid could possibly come in handy. I'm definitely not blocking the Llanowar Elf. His Shepherd has done its job, so I'm going to go with the Midnight Reaper and hope for a mana source to get Vivien Reid on the board. Ideally, I would have drawn a mana source and could have got Vivien down turn 4. That would have been great. See, he's going to Vraska early. He's going to start sacking his Saprolings, watch. Which is a good way to do this. If you do Saprolings and Vraska, it works out pretty well because you have this supply of creatures. Or, you know, supply of dudes. Okay, this will work. With any luck, I can turn this into a Protect Vivien deck and try and get her to pop the 8th emblem. He can't resolve Vivien with Vraska. He can kill any of my creatures twice, which I think is the right move. Starting with the Midnight Reaper. So he should Vraska my Midnight Reaper down rather than keep sacrificing and drawing cards. I don't think he needs the card draw. He's got 5 cards in his hand. He's going to go after her. I'm going to let it happen. This is also another thing they do where they go crazy. I'm going to draw a card. I'm going to Chupacabra his Thallid.
Scars are lessons written in skin.
Draw a card, take a damage. Okay. He's going to kill my Walker. That's the right move. Nope. They always do this. They always kind of misplay well. He's close to getting that. Maybe that's the point of his deck, is to get that game winner out there. Man. Okay, we've got to take care of the Spore Crown Thallid. And we're going to look for another creature.
The wilds are my shield.
I like the Squire. Not really worried about Vraska yet. But it's getting to that point. This is a neat deck where he's got the Saprolings and Vraskas. I feel like for this deck you'd have to have like 4 Vraskas, but I don't think this would turn into a very competitive version of a Golgari deck long term. Doesn't have enough options. And you keep sacrificing creatures and drawing cards, so he's going to run out of creatures eventually, which were also his blockers. So now I can run in there and get after Vraska pretty easily. What's he going to play? The Dryad that creates a Saproling every upkeep, which I have a Chupacabra for. Oh, and they're both going to explore. That's a pretty good way to do it. And a Poison Tip Archer, which gets nuked. But now he's got a 2/2. He's already used the ability, but he's got 4 blockers. which is kind of cool. So he could pop for the emblem and make me lose. Alright, so let's lose Vivien, because I cannot have him getting creatures that explore
Sometimes
every time
means retribution.
he walks through the door here. And I've got to be very careful with my next couple of plays here. I've got potentially 5 mana, but mostly I've got 4 mana, so I've got to... Well, I could cast down and then drop another creature. So I could do that. But then I can't take... So yeah. Here's how this play could go. And I don't care about the timer right now. I'm going to attack Vraska. And if he doesn't block, Vraska loses loyalty, so he can't pop for the emblem. If he does block, then he can pop for the emblem and hope to get some Saprolings down, which I then have to defend against. So, let's cast down this dude. And we are going to attack with everybody. Over to Vraska, right? So he munches a Llanowar Elf. And he loses 2 of his guys. Okay, so he is going for... And I'm going to drop my Seekers Squire, because if the Explorer ticks, then it becomes a 2/3, rather than a Merfolk Branchwalker. Oh, the Explorer didn't tick. And we play a land. So now he's going to pop for the emblem and swing for the fences.
One more scratch and you'll die in agony.
Whenever another creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life. So I have to block or I'm dead, which is a very interesting way to play this game. Did I just lose? No, it's a loss of life. Okay, cool. 6 mana. So here we go with a Chupacabra. Killing this dude. And we are going to... I should have Branchwalkered first. Got it. But I want to kill Vraska, because this just can't happen. He's already got the emblem. So we are playing hyper defense right now. Though I'm not incredibly worried at this point. Which is funny to say, because 1 damage I'm dead. But whatever. He's got to solve this guy. He's not going to have the ability to haste, so I'm going to swing in with everything, leaving him at a precarious 13 life. I don't care if you want to try and explore. I just need 1 blocker to not die. I'm going to kill his enchantment again.
No one said restoration.
We are going to swing for the fences. He's going to think, what's this guy doing? I've got a Midnight Reaper to use as a blocker. He doesn't even have it, and that's game. Options. Options is better than swinging for fences. I like this deck. It was hard to play at first. I'm not very smart. But the more I play it, the better I get at it. And now I'm starting to see it, so... I'm starting to get it. I say that now, I'm gonna get jacked up in 3 minutes. Watch this. This is gonna be against you know what, this deck does pretty good against aggro, unless they get the best aggro draw, like and they go first. So if they go first and they draw into, oh, terrific. Terrific. Here's the way I want to play this. Because I go first, if I was on the draw, I might play this differently, but because I'm on the play, I do my Overgrown Tomb, enters tapped. No reason to not have it enter tapped. However, if I draw into a tap land, that could be different, because then I want to play the optionless tap land first. Fanatical Firebrand, he cannot prick my Wildgrowth Walker. He would have to tap it, sack it, and then shock my Walker. It's a lot more cards for him to play than for me to play. Terrific blocker versus aggro right here. Here comes a Lava Coil or a Lightning Bolt. He's going to have to... He has to remove it. It's awesome. And if he doesn't have the removal, or there it is, or he wants to play like a runaway Steamkin, it really slows him down. Tap land, not a problem. I'm going to go into a Walker, or Branchwalker, rather. And then... I'll be hurting for mana if I keep that. So I'm actually going to graveyard this, and he's going to think that I have an awesome hand at this point. Hopefully. Even though I kind of don't. Here comes a shock, right? I'm expecting a shock. Or a Steamkin. Perfect. Now a shock. That's the right play, so then a Steamkin becomes 2/2 and I lose my Branchwalker. Or he loses both Firebrands to my one Branchwalker. That's fine too. Yep, it's fine. I've got card advantage and he's losing board state. This guy's a Chupacabra target right here. Before Karn, so I've got a few decisions to make. Oh, this is terrific. So we're going to pay 2 life, and we are going to ruin his day. Okay, here we go. That was his plan all along, was to get his Steamkin out there. And now things are going to slow down for him, hopefully, unless he's got... Even if he's got a risk factor, I'm taking the 4 Instigators. That's great. Now the question becomes, if I draw into a land, is it Vivien or Karn? At this point, it's going to be Karn. No, it's going to be Viv. It's going to be Viv. I've got another Vivien, and he's going to go after Vivien pretty hard. So I'm going to want to get some of those cards out of here. Llanowar Elf, I will take it. In spite of needing some land right now, I'm okay with that. I don't think he can kill her, so I should be able to get another dig out of it. And if I draw... So here's how this play is going to go. She lives... Okay, alright, no problem. She can go down to 4. I got another one in the deck. And I'm not playing for the emblem. So a lot of people make that mistake. Like, oh, can't let Vivien get the emblem. There's my other one. So you can. The emblem's not going to hurt anything. So I'm going to dig. I'm going to grab a land, and I'm going to drop that Carnage Tyrant. So that's the more important play. 6 mana, Carnage Tyrant. This is game over against Mono Red. He has no answer. He will never have an answer to Carnage Tyrant. Unless he drops a Detection Tower and saves up some cards. That would be the only way he could play this properly. I'm on the fence about killing Experimental Frenzy. Because he can't play cards from his hand. He can't play those. So we definitely block. He can't trick it. He can't possibly come up with enough damage to my Carnage Tyrant. He can't remove it. He Lava Coils his own guy there, so he can play the next card in his on his deck. And he's got no choice but to shock Vivien Reid, which is coming up roses. Yep, that's game. Awesome. So like I said, there's a whole lot going on with Golgari. I am planning on doing a few more videos in this series here. Stay tuned for that. You know, if you like what I'm doing, follow me. I feel like there's a lot of details that need to be explored and a lot of ways to win. They should take this out of the daily rotation, right? They gave us 4. Anyways, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more of this Golgari series. I'm really going to get into the weeds with it and actually analyze how the wins happen, how the plays happen, what the best moves are given certain situations versus very specific deck types. So tomorrow's video could be against, depending on how the plays go today, tomorrow's video could be against like mono red aggro only, or against the mirror match, so Golgari v Golgari, like 3 games in a row, just to see how the plays should work out and exactly what the right moves are. So stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.